What the... What the hell? I mean, these are the words going through a lot of Star Wars fans' minds as they found out their favorite film franchises of all time was bought by Disney for $4 billion. I mean, George Lucas is a money whore. I mean, he sees Star Wars as just nothing but a business. He sees it from a business standpoint, and he sees it as just a price tag, and will buy anything with Star Wars on it. So it didn't come too much of a surprise that he sold the Lucasfilms to Disney. And fans have mixed feelings. And of course I do as well. I mean, Disney bought Marvel over 2 years ago. Was it 3 years ago? Whatever. And it didn't affect their franchise whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I mean, it's nice to go into a Disney store and see Marvel products and better access to comics and whatnot, and it's done really good for their boy audience, because a lot of Disney's very girl orientated with their princess line and whatnot. But so I wake up one morning on a regular day, and all of a sudden they're making a Star Wars 7, 8, and 9? Star Wars 7, 8, and 9? And it's helped me finally be able to understand the Roman numeral 7. Whatever. But anyways, I heard clearly in 2005, when episode 3 came out, that episode 7, 8, and 9 don't exist. So all of a sudden, when Disney buys the rights to Lucasfilms, all of a sudden 7, 8, 9 exist. Well, they sort of exist. I mean, in books. The books carried on the series. They're not by George Lucas or anything. They're by a bunch of different writers and whatnot. According to the books, this is what comes after Return of the Jedi. And it seems highly undoubtful that Disney is going to draw from that material. They're going to just create their own material. But how are they going to do this? Is this going to be animated? I mean, the original actors are old. I mean, have they seen Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher lately? Did they see Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? I mean, and it's good Lucas is not really involved, because he's kind of screwing a lot of things up. I mean, he screwed up the last 3 Star Wars prequels in Indiana Jones. Even though a lot of nerds hate for me to say this, I mean, I think episode 3 wasn't that bad. I mean, it had its goofy moments and a little bit of bad story structure, and of course Darth Vader's no, a little cheesy, but I mean, you just found out his wife was killed. What else would he have to say? But anyways, I mean, what fans don't realize about George Lucas is, I mean, he's a businessman. He looks at Star Wars from a business standpoint. And he needs to think about, what sells. I mean, it's all about the price tag for him. I mean, like, when it goes on a store shelf, and it's, it says Star Wars on it, I mean, how are people going to buy it and whatnot? So that's kind of why episode 1 didn't live up to our expectations. I mean, I think the generation that was born, like, probably around 1995, maybe might appreciate episode 1 in the way that us people born prior didn't quite enjoy it, because kids think Jar Jar Binks is funny. Everyone else thinks he's annoying. But here's the thing. I mean, these movies from the beginning were intended for kids. I mean, the original Star Wars was made for an audience probably like 9 to 14. I mean, the audience that that adores Star Wars isn't the audience that Lucas intended, really. I mean, it appealed to a lot of ages. God, I mean, kids and adults alike. You know? Because it was very Flash Gordon kind of esque. That's where the inspiration comes from. But anyways, Star Wars is nothing but a business. I mean, a franchise. I mean, we have the ride at Disneyland. We have merchandise. I mean, so, I mean, I don't know why it comes to people's surprise that it was bought by Disney. I mean, since they've had Star Wars merchandise for some time. And the main reason I think it was a good idea that it was Star Wars was sold at Disney, because Lucas, he's not always going to be around. He's getting pretty on the age, and someone needs to milk. He needs to milk the cash cow. And Disney will be able to do that. I mean, Disney's movies, are still relevant even today. I mean, it's hard to watch movies like Snow White and think, oh my god, I mean, this was made in like, I think it was 1939. And Peter Pan, I mean, it was made in like the 50s, and when you watch it, I mean, you don't even have a thought in your mind that this movie is from the 50s. I mean, and George Lucas, he's worked so hard at making his movies relevant. I mean, like, the original Star Wars trilogy, I mean, first he released the VHSs that had, like, the altered sound or whatnot, then it was the special editions, then it was the DVD special editions with the extra CGI and whatnot. I mean, he's been keeping these movies so relevant in our culture that we're still talking about them today. And like I said, he won't always be around. And Disney, they kept going, I mean, long after Walt Disney died. I mean, they had a bad period in the 80s, but they bounced back. I mean, and yeah. But on the subject of Star Wars 7, 8, and 9, I don't think they're going to draw from the original books. Lucas himself has even stated that the novels and the comics that fans cherish so greatly, I mean, are not going to be a part of Disney's property, and Disney's not going to draw from their material. I mean, so many fans cherish these books, and I got another one here. This was a great one. I've never read any Star Wars books, so I'm going to start right now. This is Shadow of the Empire. It's another good one I've heard about. I mean, fans can, I mean, they can go on about how much they despise Lucas and despise the Star Wars prequels. But do they remember? Do they know half the time what they're paying for? We gotta accept the fact that Star Wars is a price tag, a business. And it being Disney property is going to have its ups and downs. But we just gotta take these kind of things into acceptance. I know it's hard. But, I mean, what can I say? Money is money. And back on the subject of Star Wars 7, 8, and 9, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, what story they're going to draw from? Is it going to be about, Luke and Leia's kids? I think the best bet would to get new actors who would resemble, did I really say Luke and Leia's kids? That's just sick. Oh my, I am so sorry. That is so sick. Well, they conceive them, separately. She's married to Han. And I had a friend long ago, grade school, something, explained in one of the books that Luke got a girlfriend, and she forgot her Jedi powers and whatnot. Luke does have kids, and Leia has kids with Han Solo, and she becomes Leia Solo. And I know their kids become some Jedi Knights or whatnot. But Star Wars is not just a trilogy or a prequel trilogy. I mean, it's a whole universe. It's a vast universe with many, many stories. And Lucas has even known this himself. That's why there's so many books. That's why books come out every year. And so many comics. But media-wise, we don't have as much as Star Trek does, obviously. Tons of shows and 10 movies or whatnot, but I think it's smart that he's finally found a way to get more Star Wars media out there. I don't know if it's going to be anywhere near the Clone Wars animated series. I haven't really watched that very much. Didn't like a whole lot of what I saw. The Clone Wars animated movie wasn't very good. But we're going to see a lot more things like that, probably. It's an expanded universe with tons of stories, and it's never going to end. And it can't be contained in just a trilogy or a prequel trilogy. I mean, it's going to go on and on and on. And I know there are times when sometimes we should just accept the fact that, that a story needs to wrap up and that's it. I mean, Star Wars is kind of similar to a fairy tale. Everyone lives happily ever after. Once they defeat the Empire, big deal, and they cut the credits. And sometimes you gotta accept, oh, well, that's it. But in the case of Star Wars, it's not. It should be, but it's not. And it's just really hard to fathom sometimes, And yeah, I think I've said all I need to say. So describe what you think of Star Wars buying Disney. At the bottom, if you even bother The two people out there who are even bothering to watch this, there are just tons of videos out there about Disney buying Star Wars. But the two people who are watching, if you want to leave comments, that's fine. Just like to know your opinions and just talk about the pros and cons of this situation. And yeah, purchase out.